What is going on, my broskiis? My name is Toadskii, back again, here to bring you guys yet another One Piece Treasure Cruise video. We finally have the data download that we've been waiting for. We have the brand new Kizuna Sugo Fest, and we also have the new Support Sugo Fest. Remember that support characters typically now are debuting alongside Super Boss Kizunas. We knew that this was going to be a Super Boss Kizuna. This is our brand new support character in Brook. We've got these new characters. I'll be talking about these in a separate video, so make sure to go ahead and check that out when it does get uploaded to the YouTube channel. Today we're talking about two very specific things, and they're both super evolutions coming to the game in Sabo and Uta. You guys would have seen the community post. We're very excited to see what these characters actually do, and honestly, I'm kind of disappointed in terms of what they decided to go with these super evolutions. I think they could have done a little bit better, and I think that, you know, some of the design choices were a little bit bizarre, and I really don't understand where they're going with some of these buffs, but we'll go ahead and get into it. Let's go ahead and just jump into it, because this is probably going to be a long video talking about these two characters. So the first character that we'll talk about is going to be Sabo. So Sabo obviously is a pretty interesting unit that they decided to pick for the super evolution, obviously available currently in Pirate Rumble. You can get your copies for free from there. And the interesting thing here is that this is the first character that is a super type unit that has received level limit break buffs. And also something to note as well, so this is the current Sabo right now. Even the base Sabo receives buffs via his limit break, level limit break. So you know, you can go ahead and level up two different copies of the Sabo. You can have a strength one, and you can have the brand new Psi Sabo as well, which is kind of bizarre that they're deciding to do that. So he's a Psi type unit. Let's go ahead and jump into it. So he is a Psi fighter free spirit, obviously boosted in the upcoming Kizuna. So let's just jump into his abilities. Psi fighter free spirit captain ability is going to be boosting the chain multiplier growth rate by 1.5 times, and then boosting Psi and strength attack by 4.25, 1.25 health, strength Psi recovery and tandem slots as beneficial to the crew, and heal the crew by 1 times his recovery for every perfect that you hit. Now, do note that that captain ability that we just had a look at is the level limit broken captain ability. The captain that you get from super evolving just a base strength Sabo, I believe it's a 4 times captain instead, and it's only a couple of slots matching. Like, it's not 4 different slots, I believe it's 3, maybe even 2 slots is matching instead. So the captain ability with all of those dupes is obviously a lot better. You get a slightly higher attack boost, more matching slots, makes a lot of sense. I do like the fact that, you know, it is a type change and they are still making him boost strength characters as well. I think that's a really nice addition, but I think that the captain ability is just okay. It's just very minor increases to what we already had with standing. So what was the base Sabo actually? I can't actually remember what he does. That is also with the level limit break. Do I have another copy of Sabo that I can have a look at? I'm pretty sure I do. So yeah, the base Sabo is 1.2 HP and also 4 times attack. The chain multiplier growth rate is the same. Not as many, you know, not as much healing per perfect that you hit. So yeah, this Sabo is definitely a lot better than the one that we already had. And then remember, you get access to his super typing through his captain ability, and you need to have a Luffy, Ace, Koala, Rebecca, Ivankov, Inazuma, Lindbergh, Bello, Betty, Karasu, Morley, Bartholomew Kuma. So they have added more characters to his activation requirement, which is a huge thumbs up from me. I believe previous to this, it was Luffy, Ace, and then it was like Hack, Koala, maybe Ivankov, I don't even remember that. But now they've added all of the commanders. I don't remember if those characters were all in the previous one. I don't think they were. So that's a huge upgrade. But then the actual effect itself ignites all enemies for 2 turns, and it does 100 times their attack in typeless damage to that character. I believe that this is the same level of ignite as like versus Akainu and versus Ace with their abilities. So it's an incredible buff, and you can use it to get around certain effects like resilience in a way. If you got really tanky enemies on the enemy side of the field, you can just burn them. I like that effect. It's a nice touch. He also boosts the chain multiplier by 1.25, which is a multiplicative chain multiplier boost, so that stacks with other chain boosting effects, which is great. And he also adds 150 times his attack in tap timing bonus damage for 1 turn. So his super type special got upgraded by quite a lot. This is probably the biggest buff to the unit. Very, very nice super type ability, giving him more chain, tap timing bonus damage, which is still affected by normal attacks only, unfortunately. But the ignite is a really, really nice touch. But then you've got the special ability, so let's go ahead and have a look at this. Reduces all enemies' health by 20%. Previously, Sabo did not do damage, so now he's a damage dealing special, so I like that. he provides a color affinity boost, Psi and Strength 2.25. He makes it easier to hit perfects, and if you hit 3 perfects during that turn, you get a 2.5 times color affinity boost in the following turn to Psi and Strength, and also a 1.3 times chain boost for 1 turn, after 1 turn has passed. So the chain boosting effect in his special will activate after 1 turn has passed with the clock buff, so that's good, I like that, so you'll always get that. But then in order to get the color affinity in the next room, you have to hit 3 perfects, which can be both a good and a bad thing. You know, you could go ahead and make it in such a way where, you know, you want to get a different color affinity boost, so you purposefully don't hit the 3 perfects. I don't know, it depends on the situation, of course, but the special ability is, like, just kind of okay. I'd say probably the biggest upgrade is the fact that it is now a damage dealing special. That's massive. You could have a character like Psi Shanks on him to change Psi characters' type slots into Psi slots, which is kind of cool. But yeah, like, the 6+ is just kind of okay. Like, it's nothing god tier, it's just pretty decent, honestly. Pretty okay changes. His support is still the same, adding 0.7 to the chain when you reach the final battle, and then you've got his Rumble stuff, which unfortunately this character was not very good in Rumble when he released, and they didn't really give him that much at all. Psi characters level 6 health, level 6 recovery, and each time he lands a crit up to 2 times, level 6 attack to your Psi characters. So you want to run a Psi team that has some type of way to increase your crit rate. Not a very good Rumble ability, honestly. It doesn't really synergize well with the characters that we have now. I don't know what their design decision was here. And then the 29 CT special, giving Free Spirit characters level 8 attack, and then fighter characters get level 8 speed. Like, this is just a terrible special. On a 29 CT, if this CT was like, you know, 20 or something, maybe might see play. But, man, this character just ain't it. Honestly, not what I was expecting from a 6+ of Sabo, considering a type change was occurring as well. I was really hoping that he was going to receive a little bit more of a buff than what he did. So overall, I don't think it's the worst 6+ of the year. I don't think that at all, but it's nowhere near the best 6+ of the year. In my opinion, I think Kuzan is still the best 6+ that we've received this year. Absolutely amazing. But all in all, it is a decent buff to the character. He might see a little bit of play here and there, but I'm a little bit underwhelmed. Okay, so now we get to the big one. This is the big one that everyone wanted to see, and it is going to be Uta. Now, Uta does need these very specific skulls from likely the Kizuna or Chopperman missions. We're not too sure how we received them yet, but the thing about Uta that is extremely interesting is that she stays as an int character, but both of her classes, previously being Cerebral Striker, will now change into Driven Powerhouse. Yes, this character is now a Driven Powerhouse character, which I guess is not really much of a surprise. You know, when we saw that the color wasn't changing, it was pretty safe to assume what some of the classes were going to be. So Driven is what is going to be, and it is a super class-driven character. Now, everyone kind of already understands what Uta did, and it was pretty straightforward. You know, it was a little complex when the data download first hit, but after reading the effect, it was pretty straightforward. This character is very complex, and I think even weeks after this character's release, people are still going to be asking questions about how it actually works. So, let's go ahead and break this one down. Uta's captain ability is going to provide -4 cooldown to herself at the start of the quest, boosting int, driven, and powerhouse characters' attack by 5.25, and a 1.3 health boost, which is good. And then if this character uses the special, this character's captain ability for the next 3 turns is going to be a 5.5 times captain to int-driven powerhouse instead, with a 1.3 health boost. And then it also goes on to state that if there are only 1 enemy at the start of the crew's attack, or when you move to a new battle or a new stage, reduces damage taken by 40%. So this is a very intriguing ability here, vastly different to what we've seen with the base Uta's captain. The main difference here, and it's a pretty major difference, in the fact that this captain no longer removes 10 turns of paralysis and 10 turns of special reverse, which is what base Uta does. And I think just because of that alone, that's already a big red flag. I don't like the fact that they've removed that key piece of utility that Uta had. So I'm a little underwhelmed in that facet. However, it does have a very interesting ability of just outputting more damage with a 5.5 multiplier. And then the 40% damage reduction is kind of cool. So you can have, you know, double Uta with both specials active, and you'll have like a 40% multiplied by another 40% boost. So you get pretty good damage reduction with double Uta, both specials active. It's a very good set of captains, but the fact that you lose out on a bit of utility means team building maybe a little bit more finicky. So just got to keep that in the back of your mind. So very, very interesting changes to the captain. The super class is also slightly different, where instead of having to have an attack and an orb boost to activate it, you need an orb boost and a color affinity boost to get it activated. So the superclass special will add 0.25 to the effect of any orb or color affinity boost that is launched by a driven or a powerhouse character for the next 3 turns. So you can pretty much guess what her special is going to provide you. But there's a little added effect at the bottom which says that it will go ahead and change top row and bottom row slots into matching, and then driven characters become super driven. So I do like that they add a little bit of slot changing mechanics to her superclass special. It's kind of nice just to get free matching slots because of that. Doesn't get around block slots, but it is still matching slots at the end of the day. But then we have the absolute crazy looking special. Like, there is so much text here. So I want to break this down so you guys can understand exactly what it does. So we already know what base Uta does with, you know, her turn progression effect. Turn progression is returning with this, but it is slightly different. So applies the turn progression on the crew and has the following effect. When the special is launched, boosts driven and powerhouse characters' slot effect boosts by 2.5 and their color affinity by 2.25 for 1 turn. So that's what you get as soon as you activate it, and I believe it's going to be the same icon. It might be slightly different, where it's a little music note, and essentially every time you move to a new turn, you get the different buff activated. Then at the start of the second turn, after you launch the special, boost driven characters and powerhouse characters' slot effects by 2.75, and their color affinity by 2.5. So it's slightly getting higher each time. And then it says at the start of the third turn, after you launch the special, boost driven characters and powerhouse characters slot effect boost by 3 times. 3 times all boost, and their color affinity by 2.75 times for 1 turn. So that's the base of it. That's exactly what it does, which is pretty straightforward, right? Comparing to what we had with base Uta. But there's these other abilities here, where in brackets, it says, during the duration of the special's effect, reduce the crew's HP by 70% at the start of the turn. So we don't know when this type of ability activates. We don't know is when you activate the special ability and you're given the orb boost and the attack boost, do you get the 70% health cut straight away? Or do you get the 70% health cut when you move on to the turn after that? I'm not really too sure. It does say it in brackets though. During the duration of the special's effect, reduce the crew's HP by 70% at the start of the turn. I don't know if it means as soon as you launch the special for the first time. It's a little bit hard to judge whether that is the case. Then, further on, it says that if the crew's HP is below 70% of the maximum health at the start of the turn, remove the effect of the special completely and applies a bind on herself for 5 turns. So this is just one of the weird things. There's like a self-debuff inflicted in this special. So it gives you a health cut, but then if you're below the 70% threshold, remove the special ability completely, and then you bind yourself for 5 turns. So that's just really bizarre, but it really depends on when each of these effects are being activated and applied to the crew. So the way that some people have been thinking that it works is on initial activation, you'll get your orb boost, you'll get your color affinity, move on to the next turn, it will give you the other orb boost and the other color affinity, and then it will also health cut you. Then on the third turn is when it will check, you know, are you below 70%? You would be at that point, remove the effects, bind the self. That's the way that we're thinking that it works, but we don't know until we actually get the chance to check it out. Or wait for a data miner video to come out. We'll have to wait and see. So that's really weird that there's a self-debuff inflicted here. Furthermore, it says that if the effect of the special is removed by the enemy before the full duration, then you get the driven and powerhouse orb boost and color affinity boost, 2.75 and 2.5 respectively, for 1 turn. So that's the same thing as before, where if the enemy removed the turn progression through removal of beneficial effects, then you still get a buff out of it, which I do like. That's really good. Then it says, if the crew applies the same special effect while this special effect is active, reduces the crew's HP reduction effect to 30%, and lowers the effect removal threshold to 30% of your crew's maximum HP. So this is what they're saying now, is that if you use 1 Uta, you have a significant health cut, and if you're below that 70% threshold, you remove the effect, you'll bind yourself. It's really bad. But if you use 2 Utas, then the health cut that gets inflicted to your crew is reduced from 70% health cut to a 30% health cut, and you need to be below 30% in order to actually get the debuff. So using double Uta is probably optimal in this case if you want to get the full duration of Uta's special ability with her super evolution. So it's very, very complex. It goes on to say, if the crew has the turn progress effect activated when the special is launched, extends the duration of the crew's attack boosts by 2 turns, locks the crew's slots for 2 turns, and then gives you a 1.4 chain multiplier boost for 3 turns. Now this bit is really, really bizarre because this character doesn't give you any attack boost at all, but she extends the duration of attack boosts. So I don't know what that means. Does that mean there's going to be some other character that's supposed to synergize with this Uta in the near future? Because currently as it stands, I don't think they actually have released a powerhouse. I mean, they released some powerhouse characters with the Snake Man batch, but there's no driven characters that come to mind that were released in this Film Red celebration that specifically work with this character. Bit of a weird addition, I must admit. So yeah, that's the effect of Uta. There's a lot going on here, and it really is all about that health cutting shenanigans. When these effects are checked, when the health cut occurs, we'll have to wait and see. But because of the complex abilities that are being applied here, I think the way that it stands right now, in terms of the regular abilities, we haven't looked at the Pirate Rumble yet, I think that base Uta is going to be more useful in more content compared to the 6+ Uta. While 6+ Uta can get you more damage potential, I think the base Uta is a little bit more easier to use, and I think the inbuilt utility in that character will be more valuable for more players compared to what you see here with the 6+. Furthermore, there are more abilities to talk about. The final tap does not change. It is the exact same final tap as it was before, and the support effect attaching to int-driven characters. If you use the special of the character, boost driven characters' attack and slot effects by 1.5 for 1 turn. Very bizarre that this character gives you an attack and an orb boost with the support. I don't know if that is a mistype, mistranslation, whatever it is. This should be 1.5 attack and color affinity. I don't know why it's a slot effect boost in color affinity, not an attack boost. I don't know why they did that. That was also a very, very weird design choice there. Don't know if I agree with that. Either way, let's go ahead over to the Rumble stats. Now, have a look at that sprite. Now, look, the artwork for the character, I think, is really weird. But the sprite looks so cool. I love this sprite. It looks so, so sick. So let's go ahead and break this one down. I'm very, very into Rumble, so I'm excited to see this one. This one gives a buff to driven characters. Level 6 health, level 6 attack, and when you deal damage up to 4 times, it gives self level 2 attack and level 2 CT increase. That's a very good Rumble ability. This character is going to be very, very strong in Rumble. That's insane. Up to 4 times. So you can get like an additional level 8 attack, and then like level 8 CT increase for herself is just ridiculous. And then the special 34 CT, which is very high, but of course after the first launch and all of the damage has been dealt, this character will get lots and lots of CT increase to hopefully launch again. But it will be a targeting enemies in a large range for 100% chance of halving their attack and speed for 20 seconds, CT speed down level 2, and 4 times attack. Dude, do you guys even realize how much damage this character is going to deal? This character is going to be an absolute bomb in Pirate Rumble. It's just about finding the characters that synergize with this unit. The fact that this character is int though probably helps it out. You can run some really good int driven characters alongside it. You got characters like Moria, characters like int Yamato, hello. Like, there's actually some very good characters you can use with this unit to synergize and get some cool stuff going on. So I think in Rumble, this character is going to be very, very good. It's just unfortunate that I think that they made a couple of very weird design decisions with the 6+, and I'm not really the biggest fan of it. Luckily, I do have 2 Utas, so we'll be able to have a 6-star and a 6-star plus, but I think that for most people out there, it's probably a more wise decision to have, you know, your base Uta, because I currently think that this Uta will be a little bit more valuable for you guys, having the inbuilt utility so good. I think Cerebral and Striker is a better combo than Driven Powerhouse. That's just the way that I look at it right now, but Driven Powerhouse have a lot of support, so that does help him out for sure. And I think that the effect of this Uta with double Uta, getting the full border slots, locking them and stuff, I think it's going to be more valuable in the long run. But we'll have to wait and see. We have to actually get our hands on this unit, try this unit out, and see how these abilities actually work. So with all that being said, that is going to wrap it up for me. Thank you so much for watching the video. And if you guys did enjoy the video, make sure to go ahead and leave a like. And if you want to stay up to date with all of the content that I post, including more One Piece Treasure Cruise content, make sure to hit the subscribe button down below. But on that, guys, I will see you guys within the next video.